Hello and welcome. I used to be a Skye main until OB64 destroyed what we all loved the most about the game. I haven't played Skye since then until patch 1.7 came out. 1.7 patch notes looked pretty promising, so I've decided to give her another try and see how good she is now. I'll start by giving my thoughts on the new Skye skins, and then we will move on to the balanced stuff. Let's try to find out whether the new Skye is a decent champion now. So the official changelog states that Skye has undergone a visual rework. Now the Twilight Assassin looks more like she belongs in our fantasy realm. When I saw that, I was actually excited to see how she looks now. Here's a spoiler, most of you will not be disappointed. In all honesty, rework is too bold of a word for that. What really happened is that Skye now has bigger eyes and jumbo-sized boobs.
I got hotter.
Apparently, flat-chested girls no longer belong to high-res fantasy realm. You can see that the metallic parts of her clothing now reflect light. That's pretty neat. I like that, especially on the gold skin. Besides, her crossbow looks completely different now. Personally, I like it better, though it's a bit bulkier now and takes a bigger portion of the screen when using the first-person camera. The best part is that we can still use the old Skye skin. We can buy it for 1 gold from the store. I think this is the best news because not all of us might like the changes, and I appreciate the way Hi-Res is finally giving us the right to choose. Balance-wise, patch 1.7 and 1.8 introduced a few things that make Skye a better flank. In patch 1.8,
Androx's legs
and
Drogo's
got nerfed. All of the 4 are natural counters to her, so that's good news for Skye. Patch 1.7 also increased Skye attack range and magazine size by 5. After a few weeks of trying her on different maps with different loadouts, I'm happy to tell you that, yeah, she is way better now. Even though the changes were subtle, she is now way stronger than she used to be. First of all, now you don't have to get so close to enemies to kill them. That's pretty neat because unlike Buck, Talos, and Andro, Skye does not have any way of making distance with enemies, which is why you don't want to get too close to enemies to begin with. Now after the patch, she can stay a bit farther away from enemies to get your kills and then use Victory Rush and Smoke Bomb to run away. So while she's still more close range than, say, Talos or Andro, I think she is now slightly more competent. Now, what I think is the most important change is the magazine size increase. From my experience, before this change, you usually would not have enough bullets in your magazine to finish off an enemy in one take. You would have to reload mid-flight, which is why I used to go with
Decrepify
level 5 so I could get Death Hands instead of Carterize. It was a pain, believe me. With a larger magazine, she can finally finish off most targets in one take. That's a huge improvement. Just take a look at the footage I'm showing here. In most of the cases, I would not be able to get the kill if my Skye had 20 bullets in the magazine, as she used to have before the patch 1.7. Just like before, Skye plays the best on small maps. If you have the right cards, she can run pretty fast and get to enemy snipers pretty quickly, which is why I believe Skye is a good pick on the following maps. Then there are the maps where vertical mobility is essential for a flank. Yeah, Skye has better range now, but it's still not enough to make up for her lack of vertical mobility. So I'd say usually you'll have a pretty bad time if you pick Skye in any of the following maps. And then there are these 2 maps that confuse me. On one hand, Skye should be bad on them, but on the other hand, she seems to fare pretty well there, especially if the enemy team is not master level. So yeah, these 2 are pretty much a gamble. You might either have a really good or really bad game if you pick Skye there. So if you go competitive, you should probably want to choose a different flank for these 2 maps. Don't go Skye there. I believe that Debilitate and Smoke and Dagger are the 2 legendaries to go. About the loadout, I personally love Victory Rush and anything that decreases the cooldown of my legendary ability. What are my final thoughts on the new Skye? She could be competitive material, but here's the thing. Illuminate can counter 2 of her main abilities, plus she is vulnerable to Tyra's Huntress Mark, Strix's Flare, Victor's Predator card, just to name a few. So yeah, she's a fun champion to play. I'd use her for casual and maybe up to gold ranked, though if you're planning on getting to platinum and above, you probably want to use a different flanker. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.